I'll be the first one to admit, a 25-year veteran of law enforcement and who spent a large portion of that working in vice and narcotics and undercover operations and that sort of thing. It's very much ingrained in us as a society, and it's particularly our law enforcement officers, about this war on drugs. And that's not something that's been easy to remove from our DNA. And so there's still very much a mindset out there in the public and among our officers that the way you combat this war on drugs, the way you help people get past their addictions, is to jail them, to incarcerate them, to get them in the criminal justice system so that they can be forced to get the help that they need. And we've seen, he and I both have seen that really has not been the case. It's helped. Things like drug court, that approach has certainly got people to where they need to be. But we've got to do things that we can deprogram a lot of folks or reprogram so that they look at this from a different perspective. And again, that's not to say that there are not those that need to be held accountable, those that are preying upon folks with substance abuse issues. I absolutely 100% believe that they need to be held accountable. But people with addictions, that's something that's hard to overcome. And particularly when you're talking about opioid addictions, I think, and the doctor could probably back me up on this, is probably one of the most addictive substances that we have to deal with. But as far as the police department is concerned, I agree with Sheriff in that, we should be the last step in a lot of this insofar as the law enforcement function. But I think there are things that we can do and that we're trying to do to get more involved and with the resources that we're given, because, the pie is only so big, and our government officials have to figure out how to divvy that up as best they can. But I think that what we have, the resources that we have available and tools today, at least in Fort Smith, we can divert some of that to some of the things that help in prevention and education and that sort of thing. And that's what we're trying to do. While we were talking, I got an email from our training lieutenant that all of our officers are now enrolled in the CJI's naloxone training. So we are just about to the point where we can deploy naloxone to all of our street officers, all of our police officers. So we're all going to be trained. We've all had the first aid training, and now we'll be equipped with the actual medication. And this is thanks in large part to funds that were provided by Keeley and First Presbyterian Church. Very helpful with that grant. So that's happening as we speak. Fort Smith PD will soon have all of their officers equipped with naloxone and the training to be able to administer it properly. I've talked before about our pre-arrest diversion program. I mean, that's really we've not seen a whole lot of activity with that yet, but I think it will be helpful in the coming months. Our crisis intervention unit, I think the last question that you had was, what can the community do? And I would encourage, we don't have to be the first contact that somebody has, but if somebody thinks, I need to get somebody some help, but I don't know who to call to get them some help. If you call us, and I feel confident in saying that we're to the point in this organization that if you called the FSPD and said, I've got a family or a loved one who's struggling with whatever, meth, heroin, pills, and I'd like to get them some help, we're not going to send an officer out there to arrest them. We are going to take the time, invest in them. I know this because we've done it. And obviously I can't share case studies in this environment, but we're going to send some specialized officers with specialized training to establish a relationship, to find out exactly what the problem is, open that dialogue, and then present them with avenues to seek help. So that's part of that deprogramming and thinking in a different way, reprogramming. But that's what we're doing here. I mentioned Sam Terry. I've had long conversations with him about this. He's very much on board. And what I'm hoping is going to happen this year in our legislative session is get change to our public intoxication statute so that we can comfortably begin and realistically begin thinking about
diverting people to treatment centers that are experiencing intoxication and drug addiction and overdose and that sort of thing, so that our only option is not the county jail. So